Konnichiwa. Nihon Kriketo Podcast to yokoso. Boku no namae wa Alan desu. I think that even those who have never heard a word of Japanese before can understand that. But just in case, hello and welcome to the Japan Cricket Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Kerr, and on this show, I will speak to the people who have played a role in the shaping of cricket in Japan, both on and off the field. Coming up next is part 2 of the Jarrad Shearer interview, where we discuss all things Japan national team and a few things about Japan as well. Enjoy. All right. Well, you mentioned the national team. So you are Japan cricket men's team cap number 65.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
That's right. And you made your debut in 2011 in Papua New Guinea.
Yep.
Can you tell us a bit about your memories of that?
Oh, yeah. So that was a T20 tournament. Yeah, EAPs for Fiji, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, what the fuck?
Vanuatu.
Vanuatu, yeah. And at the time, Fiji was quite strong. Obviously, PNG was very strong. Then the Vanuatu and Samoa, those teams were sort of vying for the Japan often beat them at that point. But I think at that stage where I was playing, they'd sort of edged ahead of us. But it was a good tournament, on turf pitches. Facilities were really good. Pretty high standard, obviously. Your PNG obviously were the standout. They thrashed everybody. And Fiji were, up till then, they had a bloke called Neil Maxwell played for them, who was an ex-Australia B, Australia A player. He played New South Wales cricket, a lot of New South Wales cricket, very good cricketer. But he was born in Fiji. So he played for Fiji after he retired from professional cricket. He played for them. So he sort of helped them up a little bit. So once he retired, their level dropped quite a bit. So, we competed, I think, against Fiji. I think they beat us. But that was a fun tournament. The only problem was we were ground hotel because of the security situation in PNG. It was deemed by the ICC that PNG was too dangerous for anyone to be going out the street at night or during the day. So, yeah, it was about 4 bucks.
Yeah, right. I mean, I had a look at the scorecards from that tournament. And yeah, a few games played: Fiji, Vanuatu, PNG, Samoa in 40-20 games, and then played a couple of 50-over games against Fiji and Vanuatu again, and 0 wins in that tournament. But I did notice that you guys came up against a pretty strong Papua New Guinea side where Asad Vala, who was later nominated as Associate Cricketer of the Decade,
right,
has hit 116 or 59 balls against us, as PNG made 225 for 3, and Japan battled to 79 for 8. Jarrad Shearer 7 off 16. That game. However, better fortunes were to follow in 2012. It was World Cricket League Division 8 in Samoa.
Yep.
Do you remember much about that tournament?
Yeah, so that was on synthetic wicket. And Vanuatu was a really good side. There were some other sides there as well. Weren't too bad. Yeah, we competed a lot.
50 over stuff, that tournament.
Yeah, we competed a lot better at the tournament. And it was a good tournament in the sense that there was no we could travel around, on days off, we could travel around the country, and obviously small island. It didn't matter. You see plates, meet people. And that was really great. Really,
Samoa is beautiful.
Yeah. Really enjoyed that. Lovely people. I heard all the teams we played against were great. All the ICC people involved. I think tournament referee was the ex-Australian manager. His name eludes me, but obviously he was the big man on campus of that tournament. Otherwise, really good. No, it's just really, really nice tournament. But yeah, on the field, we competed really well. If I'm not mistaken, in the semi-final, we played the team out of the Caribbean.
So I've had a look, and you started off against Suriname.
In
the first game, with a certain Jarrad Shearer making 59.
Correct.
First half century for Japan. As we won that game by 142 runs. Yep. Looks like you also took the winning catch in that game, Jarrad. So sparking big celebrations. I'm sure it was a diving catch, the boundary, full length.
No, it was a fight. He's gone for a drive and got a massive top edge. It wasn't that. He just spurred me. Thought we did a point. That was it. Fairly regulation catch. Would have put that one down.
So then the following games we beat Bhutan, beat Belgium, and then lost to Ghana, which meant we ended up in a 3rd place playoff against Belgium.
Right.
Now, that game is notable because I think, I haven't been through all the records, but I think that game saw the first and as of now, I believe only century by a Japanese player.
Oh, okay.
Alex Patmore made 100 in that game. Do you remember much about that?
Yeah, I remember getting 100. Yeah, it was a really good one.
Yeah, so Japan won that game and finished in third for that tournament. I mean, playing for Japan, is that something that you ever expected when you came over here, that you played cricket for Japan?
No, I never really had ambitions to do it. I mean, I was involved with the national team, either managing or coaching or, that sort of capacity. First time I got involved was 2004 tournament. I was a manager to liaison to Tonga, I think, when they came over. And I just got to know, like, Neil Maxwell, I got to know, and one of the umpires. And so anyway, that's how I sort of initially got involved with the national team. And then I knew Rob McKenna and Mark Tammany were the coaches back then, and I knew them quite well. I think played against both of them, in fact. They played for different teams, played against them. And in fact, I'm still really good mates with them. So they were the coaches, and that was all good. And then they gave it away to focus on other things. And then Richard Laidley came along, and he started coaching. And again, I knew Richard really well, or I got to know Richard really well. So I don't remember if I asked him to be assistant or if he asked me to be assistant. But anyway, I started coaching with him. I started helping him out. And then went on a couple of tours as manager, Botswana and Jersey. Then sort of got dragged out a little bit managing, because managing is really hard. There's a lot of off-field work involved, a lot of paperwork.
I have been on a few tours as manager. I've been to an under-19 World Cup as manager. I can tell you there's a lot of paperwork involved.
Yeah, so there's a lot involved in getting the team there. You name it, I spent a lot of time dealing with the ICC guys and, making phone calls, emails, a lot of work. And basically, I was never employed. I was never on payroll for JCA. But for right and wrong, I mean, I don't remember the time how I felt about it. But basically, it just came to me to do a lot of work. I know Alex Miyaji, it's here, JCA. Obviously, he did a lot of work at a different level with the ICC. But in terms of getting the team there, felt to me, a lot of paperwork and, a lot of the other things, profiles felt to me. And obviously being bilingual, and there's not a lot of bilingual. Both in the team and outside the team, there weren't a lot of bilingual people floating around other than Alex Miyaji. So a lot of the heavy lifting with the languages basically fell on me, because no one else could do it, whether I should be doing it or not. Besides the point, no one else could do it. So I just took it on. I'm not the type of person to watch and say, well, this is shit. I'm just going to look and criticize and, well, this is shit. This can be done better. I can do it better. I'm going to do it. So I just, went ahead and did it. Then on tour with managing, there's team sheets and there's liaising with, the tournament referee, bit of umpire stuff. You talk to the umpires, you talk to, it's not everybody basically, talk to the other teams, make sure the team's where they got to be, because the coach wants to coach, the team wants to play, and everything else, being at forward functions and being on time and making sure everyone, laundry. I did laundry for the guys, hand out their laundry, all this stuff. Basically, everything that's not playing and coaching is comes down to the manager. And so I got burnt out in doing that because, a lot of hard work. So then Richard left the JCA, and because I was quite a good assistant, Miyaji asked me to take on the role of interim coach. And so I did. So I was coaching for a while. And then I said to Miyaji, he said, look, we've got a tournament coming up in, probably a year out. And I was quite an interim. And I said to him one night in Samoa during a camp at the bar that the players used to frequent. Of course, Miyaji back then was playing. And I said to Miyaji, look, I'm your guy. I'll take it. I know I'm quite an interim, but no, look, I'll take it. That's fine. Let's do it. Let's formalize this thing and I'll take them. He said, okay. So I was supposed to take him to Samoa, but then he decided, and I was totally happy. No problems for me at all. He hired the coach out of New Zealand, and he came over. He started coaching, and I reverted back to my assistant coaching role. For a while there, we sort of for dual coaches until we got up to speed, and then I pulled back to my assistant coaching role. And I was going to go to Samoa then, because I didn't want to go and be manager. I didn't want to go. I'm like, no, that's fine. You guys go have a great time. I'm not too ready for it. And then Chris asked me, I don't know, 6 months out, he said, do you want to play? No, sorry, it wasn't Samoa, it was Fiji. And he said, do you want to play? And I'm like, oh, shit, I haven't. No, has never crossed my mind. I said, look, because at the time, I think now it's different. At the time, you're allowed 3 non-Japanese passport holding players. By ICC rules, not Japanese rules. And he said, you want to play? And I thought, oh, why not? I started, I had to get serious with my fitness, because I wasn't fit enough. Yeah. I just wanted, and the other thing was too, it wasn't so much fitness.
You must have been late 30s by then.
Yeah, 37, 38. I was obviously still playing, still scoring runs. I'd like to think. I was still wicket-keeping back then, so I gave word to God straight away. If I'm going to play, I'm going to have to field because the Japan kid's a lot better than me, so I'm not keeping. So I'm going to have to get back into the field. So I gave word to God straight away and just got into the field. And even the fitness thing wasn't so much achieve a higher level. I was just, because these young guys are most of them are half my age, twice as fit as me. And I'm like, well, they're going to be wanting to run in threes and fours. I can't do it. And I don't want to let them down. So I'm like in the gym, started work, getting my base fitness up, running 10 kilometers at a time. So I was running 50, 60 kilometers a week, and riding 50, 60, 100 kilometers a week outside of cricket. That was just my own. I lost 15 Ks. I didn't want to really let these guys down.
Jeez, that's a lot.
Yeah, went over and again, I thought, well, I've always been one of these people. If I'm going to do it, I'm committed. If I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. So then, so I'd say, got asked to play. Yeah, went over and then, of course, I think 6 or 8 months later was Samoa. And then after that was a tournament in Australia. So I was locked into these 3 tournaments. Third tournament, for reasons I don't remember, the foreigners, the non-passport holders done. So it was, and at the time, pretty controversial because I remember clearly it was November or December and we were training hard. A lot of, you go to almost every weekend, we're up in Sunderland with Carrots. We weren't playing our own games. We're up in Sunderland having Carrots, national team, which is a commitment all weekend out your time and running in hotel fees and gas fee and all these sorts of things. And obviously I was married and she became a cricket widow. There's me up full weekend, leaving 6 o'clock Saturday and coming back at 9 o'clock Sunday night sort of thing. And then obviously getting up Monday morning to go to work. So we were spending a lot of time together. And of course, Japanese work culture is you go to work and get up at 7, go to work and come home at 9 o'clock at night. So we weren't seeing much of each other at all. So it's a massive commitment. So there's me committing to this, doing Samoa in September, we did Samoa, and then getting back from this tour in Australia. And then come December, when the tournament was either January or February, getting the word that, all non-Japanese passport holders aren't going. The JCA has decided they're not going, they're not taking them. And it's something to do with funding or something, I don't quite remember. But yeah, it was very controversial. I mean, from there, I'm like, oh, well, it is what it is. And I've had like 2 tournaments and again, a lot of work, a lot of commitment, very strict on the diet, not drinking much, not going out much, this sort of thing. And again, late 30s, and I enjoy doing that, like a beer. So I'm, forsaking all of this to play cricket. And so when it came through, I was almost in a way to leave. But some of the other guys, I won't name, some of the other guys were very upset.
That was all before my time, but it was something I heard about when I arrived, and I wasn't involved in high performance for the JCA until I started 2016 season. Started getting involved in that stuff. My first 2 years was the Cricket Blast program, which is where I met you first.
Yep.
And I remember that even in my first couple of years involved in the high performance stuff, the ICC changed the eligibility criteria and the impact it has on funding or just who you can select for what tournaments. And it changed 4 times in 5 years.
Yeah.
Since 2017, it's been pretty consistent.
Okay.
But it was a nightmare for administrators. I don't know anything about how those decisions were made, but I can totally understand the human reaction. And a lot of these decisions that get made in boardrooms or wherever else don't take that stuff into account. And we're dealing with that right now with an ICC decision that is having a very real impact on us. News of that will come out very soon. And it's been, it's tough to take when it has a direct impact on people who've worked really hard. How do you explain that? And that's the reality of it, unfortunately.
I wasn't privy to any of those decisions, but I do believe what I heard, it came down to funding. There's something about JCA was going to get more money if they sent all passport holders, already passport holders from the ICC. So they get more money from the ICC if they just send all Japanese national / passport holder. Because obviously Alex Patmore is a passport holder. So he could go. And I think he went, if memory serves. And he was upset as well because, him and I are mates and he enjoyed playing cricket with me. Not many people do, but he did for some reason. And so he was like, well, go ahead and let's face it, Japanese boys were probably a little bit, and fair enough, they're probably a little bit more serious than we were. Not that we didn't treat cricket very seriously. I mean, as I said, my fitness regime was pretty hardcore, so I was taking it very seriously. But nonetheless, again, my cricketing culture, Alex Patmore's cricketing culture is you play and then, you enjoy your cricket. So going on these tours, Samoa, for example, great example, on your days off, you go together, you jump in the car, we went swimming, snorkeling, do all these different activities. We had a great time off. We didn't just sit in our hotel rooms. Because for us, part of the fun of the tournament is being in that place like Samoa. You beauty. When am I ever going to be in Samoa? So then he's like, well, I really enjoy spending time with so how am I going to enjoy it at a tournament? You guys are, I like, my friends, because again, the Japanese guys who were serious and spent a lot more time in the hotel rooms. Well, we're going to enjoy it, So he was really upset as well. I think he thought about going, so I might just not go, because what's the point? I think in the end, he went. And I'm glad he did, because, such a good cricketer. And these tournaments are to be cherished, because how many times you get picked for any country, whether it be your origin or not. I really cherish playing for the national team. And, even though I don't have a passport, I would get Japanese citizenship if it wasn't for the fact you're not allowed to have dual citizenship. So I really, I would really enjoy and cherished being picked as a Japanese player. And obviously in Japan, being a foreigner, oh, you're not Japanese. I'm like, no, but I took it pretty serious. My goals and, the ideals I could live up to as a Japanese player. I took that really seriously. And again, for younger players, they look up to us all. It's not just me, obviously, probably more so the Japanese players. They look up to all of us. They come up to you. Can you play for this? Can you tell me how do I get better at cricket and what do I do and this and that sort of thing. So these ideals, you've got to take really seriously. So I'm glad that Alex, because it may not have enjoyed the tour as much with us off there, but it doesn't matter,
Yeah, I think there's a few things you mentioned there that we could probably talk about for quite a long time. We won't quite go down that rabbit hole, but I think it is worth mentioning how, for people who don't know, that you can't have dual citizenship in Japan. You can't have two passports. At the age of 20, you have to choose which passport you want. Or if you are someone like us who has moved to the country, if you want to get a Japanese passport, you have to give up your British or your Australian passport. And it does make it much, much harder, particularly even now. There has been a change this year and that we can start selecting non-Japanese passport holders for the national squad again. But if Japan want to put a team into the Asian Games, or if cricket becomes an Olympic sport, we can only take passport holders, because those are the rules for those competitions. I mean, different rules for ICC competitions and JOC, Japan Olympic Committee competitions. It really muddies the waters and makes it very, very challenging. But like you say, with international cricket, it's the nature of international sport. It's a step up. And so it's not necessarily about playing with your mates. It's about representing your country. And that is what it is, right?
Yeah. Truly, sir. I mean, by the time I was in under 16s, I don't know, in cricket in Australia, I've heard everyone say you're playing qualified playing with your mates, because you play in the local team. You don't play at school. You don't say to your mates, then, hey, let's go and play cricket. You go down to your local club and play with them. You become mates, obviously. Some you may not, but for the most part, you become friends. But me, cricket, especially by the time I was in under 16s, because I was playing, my local team, and I was playing district cricket and under 15s. But then I come on the 16s, it was got to the point where it's so serious, you're only playing district, that, at that level, there's no higher cricket. You can only pick for your state team beyond that. Yes, there's no high level cricket. So everyone takes it very seriously. And you're basically there to play cricket and play the best cricket you can. While the guys I didn't know before cricket, didn't know up cricket, only saw them at cricket. But again, it's just because we're the best cricketers in the district, and we came together to play cricket, and then we walked away after cricket. But we were there just to play the best cricket we could play. So for me, that ideal has been ingrained for a very long time. And again, with subsequent cricket as well, playing great cricket in Australia, it's pretty high level. So again, it's about playing the best cricket you can play. So yeah, I had no problem with that. I was never under any illusion of like, oh, it's got to be a junket. It was never anything like that. No, obviously everyone took it seriously. Yeah.
Cool. All right. We're going to move on to some batches of questions that I've got, which I like to finish all these interviews with.
Yeah. Sorry. if I could just interrupt, and just for the record, I'd like to know, when I say I would get Japanese citizenship, nothing to do with play cricket, because once I came on the scene, again, as you say, once I played, and I mean, first playing cricket here, I was already in my 30s, so obviously, for me anyway, I'm one of these players who needs to be playing all the time. And when you play once a month or have the odd hit here and there, I never got the best out of myself. So by the time I started playing cricket here, as far as I was doing, my best was well behind me. And again, at 38, I felt my best was well behind me. I never had ideas of getting a fast play cricket. It was passport for living here. My wife's Japanese, I've obviously here half my life. And if anything happens, like corona, if I early on in the coronavirus pandemic, if I left the country, I wouldn't be able to come back in. Permanent resident, doesn't matter, I can get back in because I'm not a citizen. So, and my wife worries and those sorts of things. So she's like, she wants me to get it, but again, can't. But anyway, so it's for my life, nothing to do with cricket. I'll never get it past them just to play cricket, I'm not that.
I think there's a lot of us that if that rule was to change, applying for citizenship or to be a dual passport holder would have an appeal for exactly those reasons that you mentioned.
Yeah. And hopefully, I know there's there is a Diet committee looking into changing the rules into dual citizenship.
There's a Japanese guy who's getting on a bit now. He must be into his 70s, I think, who lives in Switzerland, who had to give up his Japanese passport for his work in Switzerland because he needed to be a Swiss passport holder and he was eligible to do that.
Yeah.
And has been campaigning against the Japanese rule for a long time. I read an article about that very recently.
That's interesting. Yeah, so it's hard. I mean, and you know how bureaucracy in countries, it's very slow, a lot of consensus building. They have their committees, they talk. And that takes a long time, very slow, granted. But once they come to a decision, it's like, right, we'll do it tomorrow. It's like, wait, what? Once they roll it out, it's full gun blazing,
And it'll stay forever as well.
Yeah. So if it does come to pass, it'll come to pass very quickly once they decide to do it.
You never know. All right, mate. Well, look, as I mentioned, each of these podcasts, I like to finish with some cricket-specific questions and some Japan-specific questions.
Yep.
So I'll just run through these with you and be interested to hear what you get from these. So your first memory of cricket?
And in general, playing cricket in the backyard, probably 4 or 5 years old. Yeah, but back then, wooden bats, no, it's cane cricket stuff. And I used to love the bat. I still do, obviously. And if I get out, no, I'm not out. And I just keep batting.
Who's the best player you've played with or against, either in Japan or anywhere else?
I'll give you 2. In general, a lad by the name of Duncan Spencer. I came up with him again, district under 16s, under 17s. I don't know if you've ever heard of Duncan, but he's born in the parents in English, but migrated in Australia very young age, bowled very quickly, like wheels for a 16, 17-year-old. Excellent batsman as well. And in our age group, there was a young man by the name of Damien Mark. And
right. He can,
I saw a bit of him, and obviously he made the papers for his cricketing ability. So I saw quite a bit of Damien as well, even though they're all different teams. And I thought Duncan was better, to be honest. And I think Duncan played for Australia before Damien. And I think Duncan did play for Australia, for Western Australia before. He debuted at 19, played for Kent, and he played against Viv Richards. He said was the fastest bowler in the face at 19.
Wow.
He was quick. And I remember Duncan getting a quick ball wheels and then played first grade at 16. And back then because now a lot of the things have changed. A lot of young kids back then, didn't matter age, you just how good you were. If you were 50, didn't matter. If you were good, you played. Now, of course, they got rid of a lot of the older guys. So making the first grade debut at 16 was a big deal. And he was overing the bowl, he's batting 8, and he scored 100 batting in 8 as a 16-year-old. That's how good he was. So, anyway, he played no way and did his back, stress fracture, and never came back for it.
Oh, it's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, so that was a massive shame, but I'd say I was better than Damien Markin. Anyway, and then Japan, a bloke by the name of Stephen Brooke, who played a lot of first-grade cricket in Melbourne, but I reckon he was the best cricketer I've ever seen in Japan.
Cool. Best thing you've ever learned from a coach?
Something stands out, which is what I was 13 or 14, because I was being a keeper or off all my career. And obviously the higher I played, the less I kept because I was never that good. So I had to field a lot. And when I was 13, 14, I did have a lot of confidence fielding. So my coach at the time, grabbed me and said, look, you got big hands, they're like buckets. The ball gets in there, it's not going to go anywhere. So you have confidence in yourself. And from that time onwards, I had a lot more confidence fielding and actually started to enjoy fielding because, as you know, with cricket, you don't enjoy fielding. But you should be playing because, especially if you're a batsman and you don't bowl and you don't get any runs, half your time's in the field. So, and I think it's something for coaches to know that sometimes just little things, like a comment like that, I still remember, 30 plus years onwards, when coaches, give you a little bit of a pat on the bum or give you a talking to, or, try and give you confidence. Players remember that. So I think it's really important for coaches just to try and be as positive as they can for as long as they can. Yeah.
Positive reinforcement. Absolutely. Career highlights.
Well, in Japan, 110 not out against the British Embassy in a semi-final. And it's an exceptional players back then. British Embassy now, obviously, a bunch of guys. Back then, they had some exceptional players. And so they batted first and scored 220 or 140 overs on Fuji 1, which back then we weren't expected to chase. And 110 not out chasing. So it was
very satisfying.
Bad luck for the open and hit the winning runs. And it was a good day.
Good day. Most frustrating loss that you've had?
I'll certainly give you two. One was in Australia in the under-16 district final, playing against Damien Martin's team. We rolled with 110, should have chased easily, and we lost. And
still angry 30 years later?
Yeah, still angry 30 years later. Yeah. And I remember Damien Martin fielding when I went about 3 or 4 or whatever it was. He was fielding close, and he kept telling me to go back to my own. Mate, get back to your own. Yeah, go. To this day, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what he wants. And the other one was in Japan was we lost the final against Samoa in 2012. I want to say there weren't 2 neutrals; it was just 1 neutral, and that square leg. And we ran out Daniel Mee by I don't want to say half pitch length, but it was quite the distance. And their umpire gave him not out, and of course Damien Mee went on to score a few runs, and they won. They chased our total down. I'm very good mates with Damien Mee, and I still give him Daniel Mee, and I still give him shit to this day.
Funniest thing you've seen happen on the cricket field?
2 things, Olympic Japan, but 2 things would have been a bloke by the name of Courtney Jones or Chuck Jones doing dodgy noises in the outfield. For reasons I have no idea. He just decided it might be fun. And
self entertained.
Keep himself entertained. And then there was another young fella that I'm not going to mention his name to protect his identity, but we were playing down in it was back in the day when we used to go down to Crack, I think. Yeah, Colgate Cricket down there. Rob McKenna was running them back in the day, so he said, come down and do a weekend with us every year for probably 4 or 5 years in a row. We went down and played cricket and obviously enjoy ourselves off the field as well. And so we'd had a rather large night off the field and go onto the field to play that day. And some guy was fielding in gully. They thought he might not relieve himself, relieve a little bit of pressure. Turns out that he'd done more to relieve a little bit of pressure. He sold himself. So had to run off the ground. Change his words.
Best we don't name names on that one, I think.
Right. If he hears this, he'll already kill you. Fighting within Wombat Circle.
I bet. What's your favourite format?
To watch test match cricket and play 2-day games. I've never been a 1-day player. I mean, obviously when I was playing, it was mostly 2-day cricket. And 1-day stuff started getting bigger as I got older. But being brought up on test match / 2-day cricket. And I've never been a swashbuckler, hitting the ball to the boundary from ball 1. Wish I could, but no, I can't. Back in the day, you didn't count balls. You batted. How did you get like 50? Even if you got 50 or 300 balls, nobody cared because you got 300 or 250 runs and won the game. It didn't matter if it took you 75 overs to get them. You won, but it didn't matter. But now, of course, it's all that. Well, how many balls? Oh, it's not running a ball, mate. That's not good,
Yeah, the advent of the match losing innings, the match losing 50 these days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What why couldn't you get 50 off 30 instead of 50 off 70 or 70 off 100 balls? Why couldn't you get 100 off 50 balls? Oh, it was that easy. I would have.
Where's your favorite place to play?
Well, my home ground is very Wilton. In Japan, Fuji, of course. Yeah.
Fuji when the mountain's out.
Yeah, and then, there's a couple other places, but there's a place called South Perth, which is next to the zoo, Perth Zoo. So you get the monkeys in the background, which is always fun.
Yeah. That would be fun. I hope they don't throw stuff.
Yeah, no. And then Scarborough, Butterfly, because you're right on the beach. So once you're done, you can go have a swim.
No, Cottesloe's beautiful. I've been there. Best place you've ever watched cricket?
Golden Sri Lanka.
Oh, great. I'd love to go there.
Yeah.
England played there last winter and I was just watching that and was like, yeah, that'd be a good place. Okay. Can you name one innings played by someone else that you wish you could have played yourself?
No, I don't have batting envy.
You don't have batting envy?
No. Oh, I see you do. That's amazing. But I never think, gee, I wish I'd played it. He's like, he played it. Good on him.
Fair enough. All right. Some Japan specific questions. What's your favorite thing about Japan?
Happy places to eat and drink, especially, living in Tokyo, now living down in Fuji is different, but, especially young fella too, living in Tokyo, you can go hiking, lots to do in Tokyo, I guess, but it's quite hard. Even back in the day, even going to the cinema was, it was an all day activity basically, and you had to go out at dinner and all this sort of thing. So it's quite hard to do activities other than eat and drink, whereas eating and drinking, they're plentiful and it's easy to do and it's cheap. So, and so it's fun to meet people, meet your mates, meet other people. So yeah, without doubt, places to eat and drink.
Can you name one place that any visitor to Japan must go?
There's a couple. Kyoto, they got to go to Kinkaku, and then Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I think. But history.
Yeah. And your favorite food in Japan?
Yakitori.
Yeah, good man. No arguments there. Worst food in Japan?
Well, shiokara. And then there's a version of shiokara, which is absolutely disgusting, called shuto, which is the shiokara. For anyone who doesn't know, usually squid, but to be other things, that's been fermented. And then often they'll add, once it's been fermented in usually salt, they'll add in some other ingredients. But yeah, fermented squid or the shuto stuff is fermented bonito intestine. And it's usually fermented in 6 months. And it smells and it tastes like it smells. It's actually stuff.
I don't really understand this Japanese obsession with pot fermented food. I don't get it.
Yeah, well,
it's awful.
It's a delicacy, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're a bilingual man, as you said yourself. So our final question, favorite Japanese word or phrase and its meaning?
Well, I'm sure that I have one, but I'll say probably the most fun would be butter.
Yeah.
You can use it in all sorts of situations and non-Japanese speakers pick it up. But my mum picked it up at one point many years ago. So she'll walk up and go, butter. So she's like, so yeah, that's a word that everyone, and most people pick it up pretty quickly and realize what it means. So people like calling it. So it's a fun word for the knowledge initiated.
Jarrad, thanks a lot for your time today, mate. It's been fun chatting.
No worries.
Really appreciate it. And I hope to see you a game soon in the not too distant future.
Yeah, well, now that I've made a new friend in the form of Simon Dart, might have to look into that, maybe come up, spend a weekend sort of thing.
You guys get along, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Simon's a good man.
Yeah, it sounds like they're loving it and sounds like he's, ex-first class player, so he knows what he's talking about and knows what he's doing. So
you mentioned goal. I was watching the England-Sri Lanka test match there in the winter.
Yeah.
And Simon comes over and looks over my shoulder and he's like, oh, that's a goal. I've scored 100 there. Just like, oh, just made me feel sick.
Did you know, mate? Oh, can you back? Can you? Can you back there? Oh, yeah, but then you've got to ask, who are you playing for, mate? The blind score, wasn't it?
No, mate, what you got to ask is, off how many balls?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Jarrad. Thanks a lot for your time, mate, and I'll catch you soon.
All right, cheers, mate. Have a good day.
That concludes this episode of the Japan Cricket Podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening. And if you really enjoyed listening, then I would be forever grateful if you could rate and review the show on whatever platform you get your podcasts. It would just help others to find the show and have the added bonus of making me feel a little bit better about myself. Until next time, arigatou gozaimashita.